なるほど。3人で遊ぶときましたか。
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
So Gals Can't Be Kind to Otaku is one of the many animes coming out this season, alongside amazing gems like ReZero and Ascendance of a Bookworm. However, I'm not going to be talking about those series, as today is about this one, a manga that I've read about a year ago, now finally has an anime adaptation, and the adaptation has no business being as good as it is for the story that it's giving. Like, just the opening alone, the animation quality, it's just unreal for such a series that unfortunately is your typical rom-com dress-up darling, or insert a lot of these series here. I can't say that Gals Can't Be Kind to Otaku is anything necessarily special. It is the typical story of the main character being a loner with no self-esteem whatsoever, no friends, and a niche hobby that he can't seem to share with anyone because it's too embarrassing. However, somehow he always gets the attention of the popular girl, or in this case, two of them. And it can never just be a normal girl in the class, it can never be the quiet girl, it's always the most popular one. This is your typical Japanese rom-com, straight and simple. However, even still, this is going to be some minor spoilers to the manga, so if you haven't read it and you're just an anime only, just go enjoy the anime. For those who have read the manga like myself, I'm not going to go too in depth, I'm going to keep it still very generalized, but even so, consider this minor spoiler warnings. The thing that made me interested to keep reading the series, aside from just the appeal of the two girls, is that the author was writing it at a reasonable pace. The main character was meeting the families of the girls, they were hanging out at each other's houses, at one point they had a sleepover, and even towards the end of volume 4, there was a love confession. It wasn't a direct confession, but it was still a confession nonetheless, and both girls knew exactly what the main character wanted, and even decided to spend the rest of their school festival literally just holding hands together in a private room. Like, it was very clear that going into volume 5, there was going to be a change in their relationships, probably even them getting together. But I don't know what happened. Maybe the author realized that he's progressing the story too quickly. He got bills to pay the next month, so he's got to start slowing the pace down for the next 70 plus chapters.
Yes?
Because of this, I actually haven't even read the series in months now. I'm behind on the manga. When the anime came out, I decided to give it a watch, and it reminded me of why I actually was enjoying the series to begin with, because the story at one point was actually progressing at a very reasonable pace, and it's so disappointing to see that it just becomes dragged out and bogged down by the two girls not wanting to directly confess to the main character himself and push him to kind of do it himself, indirectly force him to make the first move. And it just feels so unnecessary. However, despite my gripe on that part, the series still is good. I don't know if your typical anime enjoyer, especially for those that love shonens, are going to be able to enjoy this series. However, for the ones that do like your rom-coms, that do like your vanilla romances, this is definitely it. Even I am guilty of enjoying it up to a certain point. I'm probably going to keep watching the rest of the season because I don't know exactly what episode it's going to end on. I'm assuming 13 episodes, and it might not cover up to the school festival, but it should still cover enough of the beginning of the manga, which made me enjoy the series to begin with. So I definitely would recommend it, and I would definitely give it a 3 out of 5.